This is the host. Today's question is, can I cover the Yuba County Five? In February 1978, 5 young men known as the Boys vanished from the Northern California town of Yuba City. Their names were Gary Mathias, Jackie Jack Hoot, Theodore Ted Weiher, Jack Madruga, and Bill Sterling. At the time, they were 25, 24, 32, 30, and 29 respectively. The boys all had mild intellectual disabilities except for Mathias, who had schizophrenia, but managed his condition with medication. They lived with their parents, played basketball for the Gateway Gators, a local Special Olympics team, and were looking forward to competing in a tournament with a Disneyland prize. On February 24, 1978, they piled into Madruga's 1969 Mercury Montego and drove 70 miles to Chico State University to watch a UC Davis basketball game. Around 10 p.m., after the game ended, they bought snacks at Bears Market in Chico, and then drove back to Yuba City. This is where the story takes a dark turn. The next morning, their families reported them missing. However, police initially dismissed their concerns, citing the fact that they were adults. Days passed without news. Then on February 28th, a breakthrough occurred. The Mercury Montego was found abandoned on a remote mountain road in Plumas National Forest, 70 miles northeast of Chico. The car was lightly stuck in the snow, but it was otherwise functional, containing a full tank of gas and no mechanical issues. Inside, investigators found snack wrappers and game programs from the UC Davis game, also a neatly folded map showing the route the boys took. But perhaps most importantly, there were no signs of a struggle and the keys were missing. One window was down, suggesting the driver may have exited the vehicle voluntarily. On February, Joseph Shons, a man stranded nearby that night, came forward. He told police about seeing flashlights and people near his car and how he called out to them, but they ignored him and walked away. With no cell service, he couldn't contact authorities until the following morning. On June 1978, after the snow melted, a grim discovery was made. 4 bodies were found. Ted Weiher was found in a U.S. Forest Service trailer 20 miles from the car. He had starved to death despite ample canned food and propane heaters in the trailer. An autopsy suggested he survived 6 to 13 weeks based on his beard growth and weight loss. Gary Mathias' shoes were beside him, where Weisel's own boots were missing. Approximately 5 miles from the car, Jack Madruga and Bill Sterling were found. Their bodies had been partially scavenged by animals, and about a mile from the trailer, Jack Hoot's remains were discovered by his distraught father. Gary Mathias was never found, but investigators believe he's dead, possibly a victim of foul play, per a 2020 letter from the sheriff. With the discovery of the bodies, many questions arose. Why did the boys drive into the mountains? Their families insisted they hated the cold and snow and would not have chosen to go there. Furthermore, Madruga was protective of his car and always avoided rough roads. Why did they abandon the car? The snow was only a few inches deep and the 5 men could have easily pushed it free. Why didn't they use the resources available to them? Ted Weiher died surrounded by food, matches, and a working heater, yet none of these resources were touched. What role did Mathias play? His schizophrenia fueled speculation that he led the group astray, but no evidence supports this. In fact, Mathias had a history of severe mental illness, including hospitalization for delusions and hallucinations, but he managed his condition well with medication and was succeeding in independent living, holding down a job and planning for the future. Over the years, several theories emerged. The first is that they suffered from what's known as around the corner syndrome, where people in distress follow tire tracks in the snow believing that help is just ahead. Theory no. 2 is foul play. Sean's account of ignored cries for help and rumors of a local bully confessing to the crime in church suggest the boys were coerced into the mountains. This theory is also supported by the fact that the bodies were found in remote locations and that Mathias is still missing. Theory no. 3 is that Mathias, during a psychotic episode, directed the group on a detour from which they never recovered. However, this is unlikely given his past medical successes. Theory number 4 is that the institutional neglect by police and authorities contributed to the tragedy. For example, the families criticized the delayed ground search and the fact that the cabins near the car were thoroughly checked for months. What became of the Yuba County Five? The case became known as America's Dyatlov Pass, referring to the 1959 incident in Russia where 9 skiers died under mysterious circumstances. The Yuba County Five captivated the public and inspired books like Things Aren't Right, podcasts like Crime Junkie, and documentaries like 2024's File Missing Yuba County 5. Despite the attention, the case remains unsolved. In 2020, Yuba County officially classified Matthias' case as a homicide. The families continue to seek answers and closure. Ted Wyher's brothers, now in their 80s, are pleading for resolution. As case researcher Tony Wright put it, they were not going to take some sort of last-minute joyride into the Sierra Nevada in winter. The Yuba County Five serves as a haunting reminder of the fragility of life and the devastating impact of institutional failure. It's a mystery that continues to captivate and disturb, with the wilderness holding the answers close to its heart. Thank you for watching. If you have any information about this case, please contact the Yuba County Sheriff's Office.